This is Goku's son, DBZ, and welcome back. This is a bit of a review slash little bit of discussion about Kingdom Hearts 3, which of course I got done, finished playing through it over earlier this week. Back on Tuesday, actually, so several days ago. But with that said, complete with the game playthrough of this. Still gonna do some trophy hunting with that said. But right now, I just uploaded this evening. I'm filming this on Saturday. Just uploaded part 1 of my playthrough section with Pirates of the Caribbean World. Storyline more from At World's End, of course. With that said, expect spoilers in this discussion on Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, the first thing I want to say on this game, the CG elements and things of that nature are superb. Hands down, I think that's easily one of the best parts of this game, is the CG. It's way better, way leap forward from previous games, and definitely, I will say also just a fair warning, if you've not played any of the prior Kingdom Hearts games, just so you know this, you are definitely going to be lost. Hands down. They do try to do some stuff, I think, to refresh on some stuff, but I think the game that did the best job on that, refreshing you a little bit on previous games without playing, was Dream Drop Distance, which is the previous full game before this one. A lot of what plays out in Dream Drop Distance is key in this game, just so you know. But to really understand Kingdom Hearts 3, just a heads up, it definitely helps, for one, if you play definitely. Now, some people would say Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are very important. Elements in 2 and elements in 1, yeah, are okay. But I will say, in the story context of Kingdom Hearts 3, hands down, I think Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance are far more key and important to the storytelling aspect in this game. Kingdom Hearts 2 does have some importance in the story aspect, more so than Kingdom Hearts 1. Or Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Maybe a few references here and there with 358 over 2 days. And there, I will say, I highly recommend you check out back cover in 2.8, or see if you can find that video here on YouTube. It's a full CG movie, takes place about 100 years before Kingdom Hearts 1. So, many long time ago, it takes place before the Keyblade Wars. And trust me when I say there is some key importance, you're going to need to watch that to understand aspects and elements in the story of KH3. Especially with, spoiler alert of course, the post-credits scene in this film. You definitely need to see back cover in order to understand these characters which appear in the Keyblade Graveyard at the post-credits scene. Of course, there is a teaser secret clip. Now, unfortunately, in my playthrough, just so you know, you're not going to see the ending clip from the game or the post-credits scene clip. Why? Because I was recording with my PS4 recording. So, I wasn't able to record that. Why? Because Square Enix blocked the recording ability from after the final battle against Master Xehanort. So with that said, that's why you want to see that part in mind, but I recommend you look it up on YouTube if you're curious about the post-credits scene. Now with that said, one thing I'll say about this world is, how would I rank from least favorite to favorite Kingdom Hearts worlds? Well, let's just say I'm going to exclude from the normal KH3 worlds. I'm excluding Hercules World, because technically it was 2.9, not Kingdom Hearts 3. Leave it to a certain somebody at Square for doing that. I think he's honestly a troll by now, in my personal opinion. But with that said, there are some great boss battles in this game. I think this game has overall a better variety of types of boss battles. You have like sub-boss battles. You have overall, I think in average a world, you have maybe like 3 boss battles. You have some like sub-bosses, and then you have the big final boss battle in these worlds. Now, how would I, in my personal opinion of the worlds and the storytelling aspect and things, which worlds I had the most fun and blast in? Well, I'll say of the new worlds, mainly because of nostalgia factor, I definitely have to put, in my opinion, the 3 best worlds in this game. I definitely have to put Toy Story World in the top 3 best worlds in this game, in my opinion, of new worlds. Or in general, worlds, with that said. And that's nostalgia factor for me, because I was like a preteen or whatever when the original Toy Story came out. So it definitely had a huge impact on me, nostalgia factor-wise, given it's been 20-some odd years since the original Toy Story, which is kind of hard to believe. And also another world I really loved, though it was a return of a previous world from KH2. In my top 3 favorites, though, is by far, I think, probably the highest difficulty-wise out of the worlds in this game. I have to put in the top 3 favorite worlds, hands down, the Pirates of the Caribbean world, just because of how massive it is. The fact you can explore the oceans and you have naval ship battles. And if you are planning this game, if you haven't played it yet, but you do want to play it, you want to know where's the best place to grind and level up fastest? Doing the naval battles in the Pirates of the Caribbean world. Hands down, is by far the quickest route. Because on average, the lowest amount of XP you can get off of sinking one ship is on average at least no less than like 400 XP. If you can beat some of the sub-bosses and stuff, those can earn you well over 1,000 XP per battle with those. So, it's the best, and you definitely will get rewarded for exploring the ocean of that world. That's what makes this particular world so massive, hands down the largest overall world in the game, in my opinion. Because the ability to explore that ocean and discover small islands here and there. And trust me, let's say, when you explore them, there is a lot of payoff for exploring those worlds, especially given some of the items you can get, which will definitely pay off later on in synthesizing, making new items. Whether it be normal items, weapons, other elements such as this. And with that said, the last, in my opinion, top 3 best worlds, but keep in mind, my own personal opinion, I'd say a lot of people probably would disagree, but for me, I'm going to have to go with the world of Frozen. I like the Frozen world. I think it's really cool from an artistic standpoint. I think it's maybe about one of the most beautiful worlds. Just the whole snow scenery and everything, and the fact it played Let It Go in this, plus just a little brief appearance of the song Do You Want to Build a Snowman. It was cool. They actually chose to have like the full Let It Go music scene and interwove very well, I felt, Sword Doll and Goofy into bits of snippets in with that song. I thought they did an excellent job at recreating, and actually did, I think Square did a little bit improvement job on some of the parts of the scenes for that song versus the actual movie. Keep in mind, also, this is a little biased why it's so high up on my list of worlds, because I've personally probably watched Frozen at least 12 times, and I think of modern Disney musicals, it's maybe my personal favorite, just because I love the music in that movie. So yeah, caught a little bias in the fact my favorite Keyblade in this entire game comes from Frozen World because the special combos and attacks you can do with that Keyblade, specifically the speed advantage you have once you transform and use those ice weapons. Trust me when I say it's very useful in boss battles, easily. Especially come to the Keyblade Graveyard, you will have a lot of boss battles. And boy, can they get your blood pumping. I will say that is my favorite thing about Kingdom Hearts 3 is the boss battles. Hands down my favorite. I'd say only one or two of these worlds, specifically in this game, I would actually put my top 10 favorite worlds altogether in Kingdom Hearts ever. Maybe only really one specific world. One of my favorite things, though, about this game was the return of the Keyblade Graveyard. That was one of my favorite things about Birth by Sleep, was the Keyblade Graveyard. Plus, it was nice to finally, once again, fight Master Xehanort. And again, to be introduced to a new world, which obviously is where Xehanort and Master Ericus actually came from. Some people have said it Erquus or whatever, but it's Master Ericus. With that said, also, just so you know, you do end up helping. And one cool thing about one specific boss battle in the game is it actually lets you play with Aqua against Vanitas in the Land of Departure. So, as a big Uber Birth by Sleep fan, that's a big deal to me because just in case anybody doesn't know yet, which I think I've already made it clear in my best to worst Kingdom Hearts, which I may have to do an update and figure out where to position Kingdom Hearts 3 on that list. But for me personally, overall, the story I enjoyed for the most part. I do have a few pet peeves here and there with elements and things, but I will say this is definitely not a good game for a newbie to a franchise. I mean, it's a really solid, well done, executed overall action RPG, of course. But only really fans, I think, of the franchise that has played multiple games are really going to truly appreciate this game. Specifically, even more so, I think people who actually appreciate Birth by Sleep and playing some of their side games, though I don't consider Birth by Sleep a side game. It's a true prequel to the original game. You can call 358, Chain of Memories, and those, this and that, side games, but Birth by Sleep, in my opinion, is not a side game, it's an actual main storyline game. Same as Dream Drop Distance. Isn't really, some could argue, but there's a lot of key elements introduced in Dream Drop Distance that is very key and important to what goes on in Kingdom Hearts 3. Specifically, the introduction to the true Organization 13. That's a key importance about Dream Drop Distance. The introduction to young, of course, Xehanort. Which, by the way, is a pain in the ass to fight in Dream Drop Distance, the version on console. I actually find him easier to fight on handheld than with a regular controller, strangely enough. Where Birth by Sleep I actually think is a little bit easier on console than on portable. Kind of strange. But with that said, it's definitely a payoff, and you will definitely enjoy the boss battles because you get to fight most of the members of Organization 13. And spoiler alert, one of the cool things in some of the particular fights that go on is the fact you get to fight a double team of Possessed Terra, or Terranort as some people call him, along with Vanitas. That's a heck of a duo to have to fight against. But another very interesting and somewhat difficult boss battle to actually fight is the battle before you face Master Xehanort, and there are actually two versions or two forms of Master Xehanort. Just a heads up. As I said, lots of spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, you don't want to be watching this discussion slash review for KH3. As I said before. With that said, one particular thing, I think hands down my favorite boss battle thing in general, or I found most challenging for the most part, was the triple boss battle, though you actually have the assistance of King Mickey and also Riku. Still, this triple boss battle is a heck of a challenge you have to get past in order to even face Xehanort. And the three you have to fight at the same time against and survive these three: Ansem, Xemnas, and who else? Young Xehanort. That's a heck of a trio to fight against. Young Xehanort with the two energy weapons or swords. Of course, as I said, Xemnas and Ansem. Strangely enough, of those three in the boss battle, I think ability-wise, I actually think Ansem puts up the best fight of the three. Strangely enough, you would have expected Xemnas after the pain in the ass he was in Kingdom Hearts 2. I think hands down he is the hardest overall main boss in the mainline games. Is Xehanort? Oh yeah, Xehanort is a pain in the ass, like you would expect. He's certainly a lot harder than he was in Birth by Sleep difficulty. I will say one of the biggest pains I found though in this game of the boss individuals was Xigbar. He was a real pain, but Xigbar's always been a pain, to be fair, in all the games. Not too bad though in Birth by Sleep, to be fair, but secret bosses is where it's at in Birth by Sleep Final Mix. Specifically, some particular individuals such as No Heart and others. But with that said, and yes, there is actually a secret boss I found out about, which I right now have to meet certain criteria in order to face, and I will upload that boss battle once I get to it. A special Master Heartless. And one cool thing also about this game, you get to fight Heartless, you get to fight Nobodies, and from Birth by Sleep, you get to fight the Unverse, which is awesome to see the return of the Unverse, which of course appears first before, of course, you see the return of Vanitas. Now, with that said, one of the last things I want to say before I finish up this video, if you haven't heard yet or haven't played the game, here's one of my biggest pet peeves about KH3, even though I loved all the Pixar worlds being introduced, and I very much actually found quite a blast worlds like Tangled. But one of my biggest problems with this game was the fact no Final Fantasy characters at all in Kingdom Hearts 3. Zero. No Square characters. There's only the Pixar/Disney characters and the Kingdom Hearts original characters. There are no Square Enix/Final Fantasy characters at all in this game. That's my biggest pet peeve with Kingdom Hearts 3. For the most part, I had a real blast. As I said, I love the new worlds. I really love the boss battles. I think that's the best part about Kingdom Hearts 3 is the boss battles. And finally, the conclusion to a few things, like for instance, the reunification, the reunite of the original trio from Birth by Sleep, which was a big deal to me, being that's my favorite of the franchise. Also, getting to see the return of the trio from 358 over 2 days. The trio of Axel, Xion, or Xeon, however you want to pronounce her name, and of course the return of Roxas, which is awesome. as a big Roxas fan myself. But I'm more happy about the return of Aqua, Terra, and Ventus. That's just awesome. With that said, I'll get ready to cut up this video. But on a scale of 1 to 10, where do I rank in overall rating Kingdom Hearts 3? Overall, I'm going to end up giving Kingdom Hearts 3 a 9 out of 10. A really solid overall rank. I think overall, solid. I have to take at least a 0.5% off just for the fact there's no Kingdom Hearts no Final Fantasy characters. That really irked me. Another big issue I have with this game, there's no tournaments in the Hercules world. I do like there's longer overall arcing stories, like 2 to 2.5 hour stories in each world, but no real reason to return to the previous worlds except for obviously trophy hunting, and that's about it. There's really no other incentive to return to the worlds in KH3. Honestly, there's not. And those are some of my biggest pet peeves. I'm still giving it a 9 out of 10 because I had a blast and I couldn't put the game down. I mean, just in my normal overall playthrough, I put in almost 44 hours. It's not bad. Once you add in the trophy collecting and stuff, I'm probably going to end up putting in at least, I'd say 70, 80 hours at the least, if not up to 100 hours, just to get trophies. But with that said, this is my conclusion to Kingdom Hearts 3. And if you're wondering how I'd rank some of the other Kingdom Hearts games in the series, as I said, this I give currently a 9 out of 10. It might drop to 8.5, but right now, 9 out of 10. Of other games, if you're wondering, I gave the original Kingdom Hearts like an 8.5 out of 10. Real good, blast overall. I give Dream Drop Distance a 9 out of 10. I gave Kingdom Hearts 2 a 9.5 out of 10. Or more precisely, Remix. I give Birth by Sleep a 10 out of 10. A perfect score. And yeah, that's about it. Anyways, I'll get ready to cut this video. And I'll see everyone next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel for a late comic book pickups, which I'm going to be doing 2 weeks of comic book pickups since it hasn't been super heavy overall. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. And I'll see y'all next time. And stay tuned for some more gameplays coming up and coming your way soon enough.